Now, before I start to talk about this game, there was some important context to be given to discuss the importance of it. This was pretty much the smartphone equivalent to Beat Saber when it came out. And I mean that in a popularity sense as well. For the first few years of the iPhone's life, this game was in a similar status to what Angry Birds would become later. And because of that, it got a lot of sequels between 2008 and 2012. So it will be interesting to see how this game became so popular and laid the foundation for the series. I'll start off with the graphics first, since that's the easiest part for me to talk about. The game looks surprisingly good for something released in 2008. It is easily the best looking thing that I have had to talk about so far. I like the red, green, and blue aesthetic the game goes for, and it's a game that's not going for pixel art, which makes it have a more timeless style. I also like how, in the game's menus, it mimics the skeuomorphic style of the early iOS versions. Moving on to the gameplay, it is very simple yet effective. There are red, green, and blue orbs coming in your direction, and your goal is to tap on them, like the name suggests. The concept itself is really good on its own, and the game is very enjoyable because of that. But there was one minor problem I have with the game, specifically regarding one of the visual aspects of it. When you are tapping on the orbs, there's not much visual feedback you get when you tap on one, besides some sparkle effects that happen. This does hurt the gameplay a little bit, but overall everything else about the game is well done. There are two things that the game does to prevent spamming. One of them is by not registering your taps on an orb if you tap too fast, and the other is by introducing a scoring system, where if you're doing good at tapping the orbs, it will give you a bonus, and the bonuses will keep going until you get to the revenge bonus, which will give you a ×8 multiplier. But if you tap on the screen without an orb at any point, all the bonuses will be gone and you're forced to start over. Overall, the game's main gameplay loop is definitely the highlight of the whole thing. But the difficulty of the game will depend entirely on the difficulty setting you decide to choose. There is an easy, medium, hard, and extreme mode to the difficulty in this game, and different tracks will be in different difficulties with different orb designs for them. Some tracks might be in multiple difficulties, but the orb design will be different to align with the difficulty mode. For the different difficulties, easy is the one you want to pick if you just want to listen to the music and have a game to play as a background to it. Normal is the mode if you want a balance between listening to the music and playing a game that's not too hard. And the final two settings is if you just want to play a hard game. For the tracks themselves, since there are only 4 in the base game, I will go over all of them individually here. Turn Yourself Around is a fine song and one of the better ones in this. The music itself is catchy, but otherwise it's just fine. Tap 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 is one of the weaker songs in the game. The main hook of it gets very repetitive and there's not much outside of it. In My Arms might be really weak in terms of substance, but the way it's composed is at least decently catchy. Solo Luna is easily the best track in the game. It's great as music on its own, and it also fits into the game the best out of any track as well. I'll leave a page on the screen to give a ranking of how much I like each song, irrespective of the gameplay. Overall, for the track selection in the base game, I don't think any tracks in this game are outright bad, but none of them are what I would consider to be particularly amazing tracks. They range from pretty good to mediocre. Although I mostly neglected to mention one large part of why this track selection is the way it is. There was originally DLC for this game that gave more tracks to the game. And at least for all the other numbered entries, their DLC is well documented. Tap Tap Revenge 1 is the only one where I couldn't find any of the DLC for it. And because I'm missing such a large part of the game to cover, I think I'm going to leave it out of the Google Docs ranking for the time being. I do know that Tap Tap Revenge 2 does have at least some songs from the DLC in Tap Tap Revenge 1. So if a Tap Tap game has all the songs that were in Tap Tap Revenge 1, I might put Tap Tap Revenge 1 on the list. But if I were to put it on the list, I will still probably say that it is the best one just based off how good the gameplay loop is and it not being too drawn out in terms of the pacing. And with that, I look forward to covering the other Tap Tap games to come, and I will see you in the next Applesode.